Hello, this is Reed Hong presenting the Acta Verba case study for fall semester 2025's urban agriculture class. So, what is Acta Verba Youth Urban Farm Project? So, what Acta Verba Youth Urban Farm Project entails is part of Oakland that really has become a cornerstone within it. So in Oakland, there's a lot of, good to put it simply, a lot of people with amazing ideas, but a lot of these amazing ideas and ways of thought and just amazing personalities do not get to shine in the way that they should be, in the way they should be represented within the world and just like within the Bay Area. And what I mean by that is they're not nurtured. These ideas that many children of color have within Oakland are not nurtured or given the same respect that they might have been given in other places that are either more affluent, but more importantly, have more access to things like nature, to good food meaning food that covers the whole nutrition plate of what a child should be getting, and also educationally what nutrition a child should be getting. So through Acta Verba, they provide a couple of things, one of them being urban farming and a way for youth to learn about their environment, learn about harvesting their own food, and just overall agricultural and life skills through summer camps, through just visiting these community gardens, these CSAs throughout Oakland that are sponsored by Acta Verba. So this looks like incorporating the youth and their families into these spaces. So it's meant to be a holistic way of looking at things. So everyone comes along. The community isn't just the children, but it's also the parents and the way they interact with each other and the volunteers that are within Acting on Verba. And I do also want to mention it sets a stage through these CSAs where proceeds of produce, they also go towards financial education, where children who are in these programs or growing the food will be reimbursed in a way by having personal bank accounts that are a start to their financial journey. And in a way, for a lot of these kids, financial freedom is very important, whether they know it or not yet. So the purpose of this case study is understanding what problems A&V faces and how these solutions are coming about, while also understanding like why are they problems in the first place, what is Oakland like in present day, and just why that is. Understand really why, like the crux of why a lot of things are the way they are helps us understand the problems that A&V faces. So, issue of concern being is a lot of the dynamics of Oakland, whether that be the lack of access to fresh food within a certain block radius. For a lot of families, there may be corner stores and things with that, other smaller stores that say they're grocery stores, but do not have adequate fresh produce within the radius that is feasible to get to every day without being in traffic for long periods of times, or still being able to pick their kids up from school, or just being able to get home from work and cook without going out of their way, and also not breaking the bank. So this lack of access shows up in many children being underfed, malnourished. And just because someone is eating every day does not mean that they are nourished. There's a lot of minerals and other nutrients that our body needs that something like eating pizza and a burger will not grant anyone. So if even if there is vegetables, like there's iron, there's zinc, there's magnesium, there's all these other minerals, nutrients that needed to be within a diet for it to be whole. And a lot of children are not seeing that, as well as adults. So a lot of residents of Oakland, period, are not seeing that. Another one of these oppressive dynamics is redlining and the focused segregation of Oakland by income, by class, and race that's been perpetuated over the past 100 years and beyond. And it's still a problem. And that's what I mean by zoning, and there's not this easy fresh food because these places aren't funded, and it's like a big snowball effect of places are funded, people aren't getting their nutrients. Then when there is stores in the area that may have more things or they cost more things, they're under pressure of shoplifting and things like that. And not because people just are happy to steal, but because people recognize their need to eat. And when people are hungry, for one, the idea is to get food on the plate by any means necessary. Even if those actions harm their own community, the goal is to eat. The goal is to feed their brain. And that's the disconnect that a lot of people outside of areas like Oakland, or let's say there's rural areas where there's not a large food access, what's the word? Not a large area of food access, basically. And just a lot of these other contributing factors, mental health, it's all connected to the food and what's being put in these residents' bodies. So there's a lack of environmental education because there's less trees being planted in Oakland opposed to a neighborhood like Piedmont, which is more wealthy. There's a lack of appreciation, and with a lack of appreciation comes a lack of knowing about your environment, caring for your environment, knowing how trees help you, how they help us breathe, how they help us with our mood. All these things that were once quintessential things to understanding life and being one with the world are gone because it's just pavement and heat. And there's no trees. Even seeing the color green is more relaxing than seeing gray. And the lack of just knowing about these things is also harming everyone who's living there. Their vibrations, everything. So yes, that is the multitude of concerns that are pressing acting on Verba and what they're conscious of when practicing and when helping out the community of Oakland. So we have many acres stewarded, and there's 1.9 acres to be exact of area that acting on Verba is covering as far as growing and teaching about the growing of food in these urban agriculture sectors. It's almost in a way like another, they call him the guerrilla gardener, Ron Finley, where he would plant these plants on the sidewalks in LA, and has then, expanded his ventures into planting other lots and more vast things in the sidewalk, but making sure that the children can engage with the garden, can engage with seeing a seed be planted and then having it sprout up, and just understanding the change they can make, that they can implement. And this has been not pushed to the children, but offered to the children through summer camps, leadership opportunities. Um, so that's, teens and preteens having a role in, bringing along their younger brothers and sisters, blood related or not. So this combination of, the summer camps, the CSAs that people of any age can interact with, make it so these multiple generations can be around one's food source and keep growing and keep growing. Speaking of keep growing, 1,000 youth were served in 2024, and that's just great because it all starts with one person. And the fact that Acta Verba has 1,000 youth that they were able to impact in a positive way in 1 year is just amazing. And then that can continue to grow. And with the support of volunteers, it just has so much potential to spread throughout the whole Bay Area of these CSAs, getting more people that are so urbanized to remember that they can plant stuff too. They don't have to rely on Trader Joe's and Safeway and Vaughn's and Ralph's and all these other places for their food. They can grow their own food, and I think that's very important that we acknowledge. Seen here in this picture is a community garden at West Oakland Farm Park. So not their main park, but that's Tassafaranga Garden, CSA. But the community garden at the West Oakland Farm Park is, another great place to be. You can see the affordable, not affordable, just the housing, the condos in the back, showing that Oakland is going through a gentrification. So this is another factor of something that A&V doesn't necessarily have to combat or solve, but they do have to work with it. They do have to understand what that means for their land, protecting their land, making sure it's okay, and it will be able to be sustained throughout the future. So the main solution that I saw that was a good thing was one, keeping with the pace, making sure that A&V continues what they're doing. They continue, reaching out to children and their families, not punishing families for not knowing how to raise their child in an environment they were not meant to be raised in, and helping them along, helping them learn their land, helping them learn what nutrients their body needs, how to garden, how to care for plants, how to have a green thumb, so to speak. And, just keep doing their A&V camp programs with arts, science, literacy, because yes, the cooking and the urban agriculture is important, but all these other things are important as well. And it's great that they're tying it in here, so it's a direct link in showing these children and youth that everything is connected. Excuse me. I'd say also that acting on Verba accomplishes creating these solutions and resolving ongoing issues is by cultivating their gardens, enabling more of the gardens to be CSAs, so there's more income and more opportunity for funding and expanding their program so they're able to help more people. And about helping more people, there's visibility. A&V has some visibility, but they can have a lot more visibility, getting more people in Alameda aware that they exist in neighboring cities. So again, I know I'm harping on this point, I'm being a dead horse, but making sure these other areas are aware of what they're doing. So if they can help, they can help. If not, they can start their own thing, and it just folds in on itself to become a beautiful thing. It can bloom. It can affect more children in the Bay Area. I'm sure there's other programs as well, like in San Francisco, San Rafael, other cities that are similar to A&V. But if there isn't, that's a perfect opportunity. So just amplifying what they do so people can know, not to brag or whatever, but to just have it be out there, let it be known. Hey, this is what we do. Let's try to do it some more. And to reflect, I just think that A&V has really done a great job of uplifting the Oakland community and recognizing the many problems that it faces, but also how Oakland has always been resilient, and it will continue to do that and just keep blossoming. The picture shown is part of the Tassafaranga farm, which is the main farm that A&V runs. And thank you for listening to my presentation.